Okay. All right. I think I'm good for I'm gonna record this. Would you say that again?
Sure. Um, okay, I got the meeting. I'm trying to get this picture. Oh, got it. Okay. Um, you strike me as being very balanced. You have this very high level creative side, but you also have this very intelligent, focused, I don't know, I don't want to say masculine, but
Yeah,
I don't have the word.
but that's good.
Now,
I appreciate that feedback, the balance between the assertiveness and the intuition, between the activation and the nurturing. It's a practice. It's something I practice as much as possible, moment to moment. So it's actually what drives me, that feeling of nurturing, empowering, and inspiring myself first. And then I'm able to tap into information from a much more global, galactic, and uh, visceral place all at once. And that's for me what gets me through the day is practicing this and assisting other souls to do the same. Yeah, thanks for noticing there, Claudia.
mhm, sure.
I've always appreciated your right brainness. I've From the moments that I first remember you when I was in my mid 20s, that was 25 years ago, or, I'll be 72 this year. I always appreciated this quality of your tapping into the intuition. I always found back then when we were connecting that I couldn't quite pin you down to anything. I remember we couldn't quite, it wasn't so easy to like plan things, or you were very much all in everything, and don't put a name on me, or don't, it was really difficult. And so I kind of pulled away, even though I was hugely attracted to you and never really told you. Although I just went, oh, all those years, I just held this in my heart that perhaps someday we would connect anew, and we have.
That is really kind of neat, I must admit. Gosh, it was 1979, I believe I met you. Yeah,
That was
because,
just before I
well,
moved to Hawaii, just before I left to move to Hawaii. I'd
oh, I
moved to
didn't know that.
Hawaii around Christmas time in 1979.
Oh, wow. That's really neat. You don't look your age at all. I
No,
would not have,
I do
well,
not.
no, well, that has to do with you, you know?
It's a practice, it's a joy-filled, joyful discipline practice that for me is the most wonderful part of each day, when I take this time to myself first. Then it vivifies me and frees everything in my field, and so it keeps me vital. Yeah.
Yes, that is so neat. Well, um, I think, I believe I told you I was going to share something with you.
Yeah,
Now,
as you
I
do.
might have, I might have already shared it. I don't know.
It's always the first time.
Now, can you see this person? Maybe you already saw it. Oh, it's not showing up very well. Okay. Well, it's basically a kind of a drawing of a person. Can you see?
Hold it
Oh,
still on an angle, and hold it still on an angle, and I'll see it better than right in the background of the screen. It kind of fades in and out. Unless you turn off your background, I won't see it. I just see your background.
oh,
You
how do
can.
I turn it off? How do I turn my background off?
You go to the Zoom. Are you on your phone or you're on your computer?
Yeah, I don't have my computer died. Well, it's okay. It's not the easiest picture to see, but did I tell you about my galactic experience?
You told me of a few of them. Which one are you referring to?
Well, the ship that I'm connected to, did I mention that to you?
Yeah, I believe you did. I don't remember the details, but something about you being seen as a galactic soul sister and being either seeing or experiencing being on or viewing a spaceship. That's something about that. I don't recall more. Tell me more.
Okay. Well, about 5 years ago, I was woken up in my sleep by these bird-like beings called the blue
Right.
avians. and they said, we want to show you something. And they showed a white and a golden ship. And they said, you're connected to the golden ship. And that was new to me, sort of, but two of my teachers both told me that I was an alien. And I didn't know what they meant at the time.
Yeah.
But what I recognize now is that, yes, before I came to Earth, I was in a ship trying to save humans. And unfortunately, I wasn't very successful. So I came to Earth, I believe, to find them, their incarnation. And I have a soul brother. I hope you don't mind if I call you a soul brother.
Oh, I like
there's a being named Thor Han who's with me now all the time. I don't see him, but I feel him, and he's come here to help me, to protect me, and also to support me.
Wow.
Now, I don't tell a lot of people this.
Oh, I can hear it.
But I know you can. And he is a member of the Galactic Federation of Worlds, and he's one of the powerful beings they're all assigned different. His assignment is to keep an eye on Earth and Earthlings.
Yep.
And I know that there's something coming for me regarding my ship and regarding being able to meet him in person. But how do I put this? I'm just blown away by my good fortune. And I tell him that all the time. And this morning, today, I was talking to a tea shop, and I was laughing. And I said, I guess, I'm pretty goofy by nature. And after I said that, I felt his like little tickly energy around me, because he was going, yeah, you are goofy.
Yeah, you are.
I mean, yeah, mushy and goofy are one of my expressions in life. But Gary, I don't know how to thank him. I don't know how to thank him.
Well, there's probably one very simple way to thank him. I remember when my father was getting on, and he was always, particularly financially and emotionally, cancer, giving so much to me, different than my mom, a different quality of giving and seeing me, truly seeing me. And I asked him at one stage, what can I give back to you? And he said, I don't want you to give money back. This is me for giving freely to you to help you have a better life. The best thing you can do to give back to me is to live the best life you can, and to serve and have the most fulfilling life. Use your gifts and talents and abilities that we've helped train you for. And the best thing you can give back to me is to fulfill your purpose with what we've helped set in motion. You're an amazing being, and that's what you can give back to me, is you fulfilling that in your, basically, you didn't say the word, in your soul purpose on this earth. So that's my answer to you. Yeah.
That's so beautiful. Your dad was beautiful.
He was.
He raised a good boy.
He would take exception to some of what we're saying, because I didn't follow the formula. I didn't fit in.
No, you did not. Hey, I didn't either. My parents didn't know what to do with me. It wasn't until literally it took years and years for me to understand how gifted I was.
Yeah.
I mean, you haven't seen my artwork, but you will.
Send me photos from time to time. I'll send me some photos.
You buy coffee, right? You buy coffee? Do you drink coffee? Do you buy it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I do.
Okay. Can you see this? Wait. Oh, shoot. It's okay. Next time I won't use the background. What I'm doing my cards. I paint cards, and everyone loves them. And the other thing I'm doing is I take different coffee, bags of coffee. Okay. And I take ones that are very decorative, and I'm going to take one bag and glue different parts of the other coffee packages to that one bag. So I have my own favorite beautiful coffee bag. That's just play for me.
I love it.
But I'm looking forward, Gary, these precious beings of the Galactic Federation are watching over us. We're like their children, and they are going to land. And I believe, and this is a little, I haven't told anyone this, but I believe that because of my connection with Thorhan and the fact that I am an ET, I believe that I'm going to be a representative.
Yeah.
I don't know how it's going to look, but I'm going to be the one to say, it's okay. You're safe. They love you. And I'm one of them. I'm not going to say it in those words, but at some point the ships are getting closer because they can and because they love us and they want to help us. Did you you watch Star Trek, right?
A little
Did you
bit.
watch
Wasn't
Star
my
Trek?
thing, but
Captain Kirk, you know, the when they would just touch a button and they get whatever they wanted.
okay.
I mean, like Captain Kirk would say, I want some pudding. Boom, there's the pudding in the replicator. That is in our future. All this stuff has been available to us, but the deep state, or whatever you want to call them, they've suppressed it.
Yes.
But now that we're getting very close to them being completely gone, our lives going to be amazing. We'll be able to go into space, not with rocket ships. I mean, I'll probably end up flying in a craft, but I might beam up as well. I don't know what's going to happen, but I know that our future, for those of us who are awoken, we are awakened enough to be unafraid, to welcome them. I don't know when it's going to be. All I know is that on Shasta, they're all over the place. And the ship, my ship that I'm connected to, is in the sky. I can talk to it. I see it every night when I want to. The only thing I'm missing is a good pair of fucking binoculars. They're better than telescopes, I think. I want to be able to see that ship even more. I just got to buy some.
Yeah.
Huh?
You can get them on eBay or something like this. You get them at a discount.
I don't. I will. I don't have the funds, but they'll be coming. So I feel like my intuition or my sense, and you might believe in this too, there are people who are still going to remain in the third dimension. I don't like that word, third dimension, fourth dimension, but I don't know what's. There are people who aren't going to be able to handle all the changes.
Yeah.
And my teacher, Art, had mentioned that we may be going to a different Earth. I don't know. That could be just a play on words. It could be that we'll be walking as our enlightened selves as we continue to ascend energetically. We're not going to ascend, in the sky, but energetically ascend. We are going to be walking with our third eyes open. We're going to be aware. We're going to love the earth. We're going to care for each other. We're going to care for the earth. We're going to deal with the issues that are right on the surface, like trafficking, in a way that cleans this place up. But if it doesn't get cleaned up, we're going to go somewhere else, because that 1979, when just before you called and said, I have a place for you to stay at.
Yeah.
My dream was not a dream. I was awake. The earth was on fire and I was about to be beamed up. And that each teacher I've spoken to about, like Francis Rico, you haven't met him, but maybe you've met him. He's here in town. Is that, what was I going to say? Oh, I said, so what happened? All of a sudden, the earth was on fire, and then I wake up and everything is so much better. They spliced the tape. And just now, we've just gone to another level. The tape wasn't spliced, but the timeline that we were on recently has shifted to a better timeline. Look at what's going on in the world. I mean, trafficking is becoming, everyone's finding out there's trafficking. There's so much is being revealed now, and some people are going to be able to handle it and some are not. Like my family that I love more than words can say, I don't know if they're going to be able to handle this. I don't know if they're going to stick around. But I do know is that I love them deeply, and I'm doing the best I can for them.
Mm,
Remember
mm.
Tasha's daughter, Avra? I remember you met Tasha. That's how I met you in Brentwood. Remember she had a meeting at her house and you were there and I met you.
I
And
don't remember, no.
oh, that's okay. But you did. Anyway, she was on Star Trek and her daughter is in LA and I'm going to go visit her and help her out because I made an investment.
Hmm.
And that investment will help me fly out and see you one day.
That would be
All in
lovely.
good time.
Yeah.
First, let's see. First things first. I'm going to take my friend to see Zach Leary, because she adopted an orphan because she couldn't give birth. And she raised the girl, and the girl hung herself because she had so many different issues that most of the kids didn't have. Like she was adopted, she was Chinese, her parents were gay, blah, blah. It was too much for her. So the first thing I'm going to do is fly Lori down to see Zach Leary, Timothy's son, to use MDMA so they can clear this trauma, because she's been trying for years. That's one thing to do. I mean, you're on the list. But I got to do my service work. And then
Yeah.
I'm going to go to Florida and meet Elena Denon. Now, you've got books and a computer. You might want to look this woman up. She's pretty amazing.
How do you spell?
Elena.
Mm-hmm.
And the second, her last name is Danaan.
A-A-N for Nancy?
Danaan. She's
Another
French,
N.
but
Okay.
yeah, she
Yeah.
speaks English. She's on all over YouTube, and she'll talk about what's really going on because Thor Han also is connected to her.
Mm-hmm.
She goes on ships because it's wild what people don't know and what people don't want to know. But she's on YouTube and she's sharing the history of what happened on this planet and what's happening now. So much is going on that the bullshit news does not talk about because it's
No.
owned, you know? So YouTube is a great place to find information.
I love having my videos on YouTube too. You know, I take calls like
Yeah,
this one with
yeah.
permission, and
I
I
mean,
have people see moments like these that I'm sharing with particular people, and it's been such a profound way to take my private moments, my personal moments. For example, if there's any particular moments on this that you're okay about me putting on YouTube, I will. I'll put it on my YouTube channel, our conversation. I'm recording it, but I'll only do that with your permission.
yeah. Well, I prefer they didn't know my name.
Yeah. Well, have I called you by name in this conversation?
No.
No, just Zoom user. Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You're welcome to say that I'm a human, but I've learned by my teachers that I'm actually a human alien,
Mm-hmm.
and that I came to Earth to be of service, and I'm connected to a ship, and I feel completely safe.
Yeah.
And one day I will be a representative. I don't know to who, when, or where,
Mm-hmm.
but I believe that's why Thor Han is hanging out with me. He's also here to protect me, because one thing that you may not want to put this on YouTube because it might scare people.
I'll turn this portion off. When you say put this portion off, I'll just turn it off for now. And then
Sure. I don't have all the information because I need to work with a high level person who can read what people did in space before they got here. So all I understand is that do you know who Corey Good is? I think I already
how do you
asked you
spell
that.
that?
Cory Goode.
Good. Corey Good.
Yeah. Now, there have been experiments that, again, most people don't know about, where the a certain faction of humanity, if they're even human, Well, let me back up a bit. Corey Good was born as a psychic child, extremely psychic. And the bad boys used him to go into space and do different things. I don't know all the information, but Corey Good is also on YouTube. What they did with Corey is they took him 20 years ahead. They jumped him in time. They put him on a ship to do some work on another planet. When his time was over, he came back to his earlier age, and now he's got books out. He's got all kinds of information out about what he's learned. One of the things that deeply upset me, but it's okay because I'm over it now, is I opened up one of his books, and because I want to learn about him, and it showed him they take humans to other planets to eat them, to do bad things, to put them into slavery. There was a picture on his book where he's taking these girls and saving them, putting them on the ship and taking them somewhere safe. And that's when I kind of lost it, because it reminded me of what I had been doing before I came to Earth. So, again, a lot of people either don't want to hear this or they don't believe me, and I don't really care. My good friends, few good friends do know this. I told my sister at Thanksgiving, I said, you guys, I want to let you know that I'm an alien. And my sister flipped out and said, what? She said, what? I said, oh, I'm sorry, Carolyn, I was just kidding. I don't want to upset anybody.
You couldn't handle this, Shauna.
Oh, no. I can handle it. I don't have extra special, nothing zaps out of my fingers or anything like that. But it kind of broke me up for a little while, and I sat with it. I've sat with it. And I said, okay, you're going to be fine about this. You wanted to know this, Claudia. Therefore, the creators, the beings who are supporting me, showed you the book. So I don't know what's next for me. I don't know if I'm in the future going to travel in space, but I would like to. Very much so. It's going to be available, not in the way that it looks right now. It'll be much simpler. I know. It's not like I'm waiting for that. I'm waiting to have time to do my artwork and to hang out with my friends and go swimming and travel. But I will include that too. Because
sounds good. Like a good combination package. Have it all, Claudia. Oops.
Oh yeah, I'm like, I have a grand trine in air. I want to have it all.
I get it.
So tell me how you're doing. I love the little background you've got. It looks like a screened in porch or something.
It is my porch. Yeah,
beautiful.
It's not my background. It's my front porch. This is polyethylene plastic. And in the morning when the sun comes in from this direction, it's a hot room. It's like a really hot room. And then now, because here the sun goes in the opposite direction, as it goes this way, counterclockwise, then like right now it's about 1 in the afternoon, then it gets cooler and the visual effects change. In back of me are all kinds of trees, and 550 meters above sea level here. There's mountains in back, and there's all kinds of growing vegetation, all kinds of wildlife that's living here. Yesterday, I was coming in from taking my daily swim, because I love having a daily constitutional, keep myself fit and vim and vigor. And I saw this carpet snake that was just right on the other side of my caravan here, going very slowly. It was about this thick through the bushes. And I put it on my Facebook page. You'll see it.
I saw it.
Oh my gosh. You did see it.
Yeah, I went, wow, big.
Yeah, exactly. And so I commented, it just kept going on and on. It was like a series of train cars. It had no end. Oh my God, it must have been 10 feet, 3 meters long. It was huge.
3?
All I could do was record. It was the the width of my arm, double, like this. It was
Wow.
huge. Oh wow. So living here in the wild, off grid, in the bush, at the edge of the property, there's a number of people that have houses and homes in between each other. But I'm at the very edge of the property. On the other side of my caravan is a gorge, and water is pouring down just on the other side here, like another 50 meters. There's a deep cliff, and the water from the waterfall that comes in from this national park is gusting through. It's right on the edge where I am. So I'm in quite an amazing, energetic place here. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Now, where do you go swimming? If you're high up, are there
Well,
ponds?
when I drive down the hill, which is like another
Ah.
half a mile down the hill, I just coast. Then we have dams, and if I go down even more, another like 3/4 of a mile in American terms, that's where the creek of this national park enters in, and there's a waterfall. I haven't gone in the waterfall for about a month or two because it's been so fucking cold at night, freezing, because
Oh,
we're also up high. But now here in Australia, the seasons are bastardized a bit. Here in Australia, we're in winter now, and we shift to spring on the 1st of September. So that's just a couple of weeks away. And the weather's
oh,
getting warmer at night. The water in the waterfall, instead of going in and my skin turning this red lobster red because it's so cold, now I'm going to give myself a couple of weeks, and then come September 1st, when it's officially spring, I'm going to spring into the water because I love it. I love sitting in the waterfall and doing a waterfall meditation
oh,
every day.
oh.
Ah, e, I, o, ooh, breathing in and receiving the same energies that I put out. Ah, e, I, ooh, ooh. Taking more time to receive these days and not just put out the energy. So that's where I'm living, in this gorgeous space. And mostly I'm connecting with other humans online because it takes people 2-3 hours to get here from the nearest city. We're that far away from everything.
I'm
And
trying to get
yeah,
a. Where is the city? Wait, I got my
I
pen.
won't I won't put it on a YouTube. I won't tell you.
Oh, yeah, right. Understood. Yeah, safety.
I'll do it at another time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
need to know. But
Well, I do want to tell you, but it would have to be in another conversation and not on a public, something that I'm
yes,
actually. If I turn off the recording, there you go.
yeah, that's wonderful.
That's where I live.
Um,
Yeah, it's quite an amazing place. I've never been so far off grid in my life. I have lived near Mount Shasta in a place called Fall River Mills,
mhm.
near Mount Shasta, when I was studying in 1975, before I met you, polarity
Yeah.
therapy. And
Oh,
that was,
yeah.
way up near Oregon. And that was quite an experience. But there were still towns and people nearby, and, villages. Here ain't nothing like it for 2 hours. There's nothing. For an hour or two, there's hardly even there's like little tiny towns, because, I want to go to a real town when I go shopping once a month, which is what I do because it's too expensive and too long to do it regularly. But once a month, I go and I go do all my shopping and all my errands, and I have my dentist appointment and my haircut appointment and my hearing aid appointment. And I just pack it all in once a month for a couple of days, see a couple of body therapy clients. And then sometimes, like today, people who are shopping, I'll say, hey, could you get this for me? Because it's not worth me traveling and driving all over the place. So I'm here. I'm here, except for this
Wow.
upcoming cruise that I'll be on, flying from Hawaii to Sydney in October. I'm flying from here to Hawaii and then taking a boat from Honolulu to Sydney. And I will visit Maui. I will visit Maui, where all this just happened. And that's where
Yeah.
my favorite waterfall is, that you've got to climb up 2-3 hours through endless streams and creeks way
Oh,
beyond where you can go. I know this place like my heart. And that's where in my will it's written that my ashes will be cast in this famous, did I tell you, this chimney waterfall, where you go up to this one place 2-3 hours. After a while, I don't even bother to carry anything. I just have a bathing suit on so I don't scratch my ass when I'm going through bushes, and reef walkers. And I go over, it's all I carry because it's too much water to even carry a camera at that point. And it's climb through the bushes and through these streams. And at one point, is a pool about, 4 or 5 yards in diameter. And I swim from one side of the pool to the other. It's only 6 feet deep, less. And I go to the other side of the pool and there's a shelf. So I climb into the shelf and I spiral my way out of the shelf, and there's a triangular hole. That's why I call it Chimney Rock Waterfall. And that's where my ashes are to be cast at the end of this incarnation with my dear friend who I'm going to do that with in this trip. I'm going to take a special trip once I'm flown to Honolulu to this island, to Maui, where all this happened, and we'll share this amazing experience. It may be the last time we do it in our bodies together. So I'm really stoked about that. Spending some time in Maui, doing my favorite place on the earth.
Oh, wow. Well, there's so many different opinions, but we'll see if this is true, because we have these benevolent beings who are watching over us with much love and sending us support, even though we may not be aware of it. I'm hearing that we were not meant to die. We were not. I mean, you could if you want to, but and maybe you will this lifetime, but it's possible that we won't die. We were not born to die. We were born to live.
Yeah, it's an
That sounds
interesting
like a great
perspective.
song.
In letting go of this human form, however, I may come through transmute to some other form of entering consciousness itself, because that's indeed who we are in the beginning, and we are consciousness itself. So we never die as consciousness, because that's what we started out as before we even became human form. So I don't care what form I become, but I'm very dedicated to carrying the consciousness that now I've developed in this form to connect with all forms, to connect with all consciousness. And who knows what comes from here in terms of the physicality or the viscerality or spirit in human form. I don't have a clue. Yet I do have this feeling that we don't die in consciousness, and the form may continue to morph from human to who knows what. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm open to whatever is meant to be in this evolving tapestry.
Oh, I like that. I like that. Well, I've been studying with a teacher, and what I've learned is that as a consciousness, we've been on so many different timelines that you're right. We haven't always been human. Maybe we've been ants. I don't know, but I don't know about ants. But anyway, that we've had an unknowable amount of lives, not as humans, just as so many different beings. Like here I am, a human alien. Before I was here, I was an alien. So what you're saying makes sense to me. Ultimately, we are consciousness. Ultimately, yes, that's all that we really are. But perhaps we choose to be different expressions of that consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's the case, I think I'm glad I made the choice to be here. Because the creator, I don't know, I call this being God or divine creator, wants company, joy. He wants this being, this presence, this exquisite consciousness has given birth to an infinite amount of itself. Itself isn't the right word. Their self. That's my understanding.
It's there. self. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
different facets. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So, I mean, I've been told that I've mainly been a man a lot, and I've been a warrior. Well, maybe on Earth I was, but on the other planet, I don't know on other planets, I don't know what I've been. Um, I can tell you something, but I'd like you to turn the computer off, or I mean, the recording off.
Um, the ability to tap into ageless wisdom in character as the court jester for me in this and other lifetimes has given me permission to share what otherwise might be seen as foolish in ritual as sacred play. There's a wisdom that comes through that everyone can appreciate in the role of the honored contrary. And rather than being the rebel and fighting against systems which I don't agree with, what I've done is I've turned my perceptions into expressions that are flamboyant, creative, and in some ways otherworldly. Yet people are hungry for this. They don't see it as the weird one anymore. Maybe 20, 30,
Right.
40 years ago when I came out in the early 1980, when was that time we met? That's nearly what, 40 something years ago.
Yeah.
Now there's a feeling that we're hungry for innovative, off the map form. What did Steve Jobs say in that beautiful ad that he was famous for? It's the crazy ones. It's the ones that it's them that create the new visions for the culture and that we all follow. We're the ones that set the stage for the mage and the mage and the sage to come out of the cage and to turn a new page and stage for all of us. That's who we are. And to me, I'm very comfortable in that role. No longer feeling someone thinks I'm weird. It's because they haven't owned their own weirdness. If they see me as someone that they can't accept the wisdom or the truth that comes through because I do it through song or I put on silly sounds. It's their own resisting, diving into their own wisdom in those ways. There's a velocity to ridiculosity that I'm dedicated to, and I see the power of it when I inhabit it in a feeling of acceptance, and then others can accept that in themselves.
That's wonderful. And it's given you so much joy because it's awakened something in you that is precious to you, and that needs expression, and and uh and touches people, and they want
It
to be
does.
touched.
It does.
So
I
I
remember
like that.
when I was living in Hawaii and I had just come out as a court jester and I was performing at a very exclusive restaurant called the Colony Surf. I remember in Honolulu near Waikiki. And I was doing some performance, some legends, some folk tales, some recitation with the people at this very fine restaurant right at the edge of the sea. And, it didn't mean that much to me. I was just doing another performance. Yet months
Uh-huh.
later, I met someone who had seen that performance. And she turned to me and said, "You know what? You changed my life. My life felt changed from watching and witnessing you, an ordinary human presenting extraordinary silliness and legendary profundity in a way that I started to own places in me that I'd been hiding and keeping in the shelf. And the fact that you were doing it in a way that also maybe you forgot your lines or you were a little imperfect helped me feel like I can do this too."
Oh my
That was
God.
powerful.
Oh, lovely. I really appreciate you telling me this because in my future I will be presenting. I don't know if I'll be doing storytelling like I did one time and blew people's socks off. But I will be on stage, and it's for the joy of it. It's just for the joy of it. So what they don't like it or don't understand, whatever, or there'll be all kinds of perhaps feelings from people, but it's for me to share to share. That's it,
Yeah.
to share.
Well, in
That
light
is.
of that, and I may
Mhm.
call you by your name, that in light of that, dear friend of 50 years, 40 something years, my goodness,
Yeah.
I would like to invite you either in this conversation or some upcoming conversation with you, to share a piece, whether it's a story, a poem, a song, a vision, a dream, utilizing your whole body to make pictures of what you're saying. Yeah, with your head, with your gestures, with your fingers, with your hands, to inhabit this online screen, so you actually can advance the cause, and rather than wait till someday, let's activate this and set it in motion so it becomes something you're just ready and willing and able. Does that sound
Okay.
good?
Yeah.
You want to
Well,
sit with it and see what percolates and go, yeah, well, there's
yeah, I'm
something
gonna
about
have
wanting to
to.
share. Percolate
I'm
with it.
sorry, what? What'd you
Percolate
say?
with it. Let it bubble up in your consciousness until, and you'll know it's the right thing when you say to me in one of our upcoming conversations, ah, there's something that I keep thinking about sharing, and I haven't felt comfortable with it yet because of what people might think of me, or I haven't felt like I'm really telling it as well as I could. I want to practice with you, and I'll do that. It'll only take a few minutes, and watch. You'll be right on the other side of that in next to no time. That's one thing I can offer you in our connecting. Absolutely love to do that. Honored to do that.
Oh, that's wonderful. Um, I find it once I've been on stage a number of times, and I find that once I'm there, trained, ready, exercised everything I could, once I'm on there, it's like it's joy, it's easy, it's pleasurable.
Yeah,
Right now, my focus is doing my paintings and not selling the artwork, but just giving it to people. But that's not where I'm going to end. That's just the beginning, and I have to figure out. I'm going to just have to let the downloads come.
that's right.
The
And when you're
downloads will
making
come.
the artwork, be sure to make good quality photos so that you can save that and put it into some form of electronic, or maybe not even electronic, journal or diary or gallery, that then you can have that even when you give the images to someone else.
Well, I do have them on my text messages. I just didn't know how to send them. Oh, I can. I
Just
didn't
save
send them
them.
to you yet. Okay, save
Send
them.
me your best, the ones you like the most. But I'm saying for yourself, save them in a place in case the internet goes down. That's not just in messages, but isn't a like an external hard drive or someplace in your phone or someplace where you can. They always have reference to them, and then you can pull them out. This is my gallery of my art, and you can catalog them according to time or subject or themes or where you were living at the time. And the way you do that, the more you can then see them as teaching vehicles of
Oh,
expression.
yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. So let me back up a minute. They're on my phone, so aren't they still?
Yeah,
And I
they'll
did
stay in
have
your
some.
phone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so they're already there. But I have a friend who's she's a psychologist, but she's one of these psychologists who's can look at people's art and find out what's going on with them. I don't know
Yeah.
what that word is, but
Well,
that's one of the
clairvoyance,
mediums.
she's able to see into things. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so I was blown away because I showed her. I started doing my artwork about 4 years ago, and I'd forgotten about this one piece, and it was on my phone. I said, "Well, I wanted to share. What do you think of this?" And she read it. She literally read it, and she said, "Well, I see some two eyes that are watching you and care about you." Thor Han. I had painted him unknowingly on my art card, and she could read it. I was just blown away. I
Hmm.
don't have that understanding, but I'm happy to put them on an email and send them to you.
I would
You
love
have
that.
whatever you want to do with them, because these have been given. They've all been gifted to people, but I have the copies, and they don't care. I mean, they get the card, but you'll have copies.
Here's how you can do that. One of the easiest ways you can do that is to open up an app, just a website that anyone can do. This is not going to cost you anything, called WeTransfer.com.
We
WeTransfer.com.
we transfer.
WeTransfer.com. Yep. Yep.
Uh-huh.
And what you can do, because I do this frequently in my phone when I want to send a video that I just made and to send it to someone, you just enter that into your phones, as on the internet, because you're on the internet. And then you open it up, and you don't have to belong, you don't have to have a membership, you don't have to have anything. And it gives you and anybody up to 2 gigabytes per day to send any number of files. So all you do is you open up the app, and then it will
Mm-hmm.
say send file, and then you go into your Photos app in your phone.
Oh,
You just
uh-huh.
select however many you want to add, send it up to 2 gigabytes is a lot of photos. Maybe 100 photos or more. They're probably 30, 40 megabytes each. And that way, you just then just put my email address, GaryWoolman@gmail.com, for any of the email addresses you have for me and from you. You can choose to send it either as an email, and then I get the link directly, and it's good for 7 days. Or if there's other people you want to do this with, you could send it as a link. And then that link you could send to anybody if you want to for 7 days. And anyone would have access to all of those files for only the 7 days until the link expires. It's a very
Oh,
cool tool, and it doesn't cost anything. I use it regularly for large files.
great.
Large files.
Thank you.
Yeah.
How is that different than me taking the pictures off my phone, putting them in an email and sending you the email? How is that different?
The
Because you
email
could
only
have,
has a maximum of 25 megabytes per email.
oh, I
And this is
see.
2 gigabytes, which is huge.
Oh, okay.
It's
Well, I don't have that many things to send, but I'll send you what I have tonight or tomorrow. I'll send it to you
Yeah,
so you
great.
can
I
just,
love that. Then we can have
yeah.
more of a conversation about the pieces. One of the people that I'm working with right now, she's an NDIS client, and which is the disability insurance scheme that's international. And
Oh,
I met her when I have an ad up in Psychology Today, as I'm a therapist online. I do online therapy. So she's been a client of mine for over 3 years. She's come to some of my dancing freedom classes. And mainly we just have phone conversations or messenger conversations once a week. And her funding changed, so she had to shift me being her therapist to, they had another category that they could continue to give me support to support her as her
uh-huh.
art therapist or her art mentor.
Oh,
And so
uh-huh.
she's so creative. And so what I do with her is, like, she's created these clocks. She creates on a round circle. She creates a beautiful, almost like a moire painting of a particular swimming kind
Oh,
of collage, and she turns it
oh,
to a clock, and she'll send it to people for Christmas gifts. And I tell her,
oh,
you can be absolutely so wealthy and so famous and so appreciated. But what I've done with her, which I'm happy to do with you, is I've named the different images, and then we have a little blurb, like with the pet rock, description of what the images mean in terms of how it connects with the psyche and opens up different qualities of expression and perception to be a better human, a better soul. It's been a fantastic process with the titles and the description. So I'll do something similar with you if you like.
wow. That's amazing. Okay, it's all new to me, but I can send them to you and
Yeah,
we can get started.
let's see where it goes. My sense is if you take them from out of your phone into a place where each one represents your archetypal history of who you are and see the world and life in general in a galactic sense, that will then allow you to fully embody the expressions that are now in abstract form in a very clear, this is where my right brain and my left brain come together, because I'm really good about putting things into form, and I'm also very intuitive. So let's take your intuition and give it a focus, a direction that has its own consciousness, its own drive, its own passion, its own meaning and message that speaks through you. I'm mostly going to just be writing the words, but I may have some good reflections about, well, given what you've been sharing, how about it being seen this way, or naming it that, or notice the colors in this side of the composition, how that helps ignite a feeling of peace, or it's all this. You can do all of this through and then it has more meaning. Like with the pet rock, it's just a rock, But with the advertising and all of the meaning, here's how you can use it, it became this amazing, remember, phenomenon that touched people's lives. So it's like that. It's not creating meaning, it's finding the meaning that's already within. Yeah, it's finding the meaning that's already within.
That's really neat. Certainly something to consider. I just paint, but everyone who sees it just loves it. And now you're taking it to the next step of where there's information in the painting that I'm not
Absolutely.
aware of. It's subconscious, but my friend saw it, and
Yeah,
what I was going to do is for fun, have them put on mugs, nice,
yeah.
not like, but I can do anything I want with them. I've only gotten about 5 done because I've been so busy, but I'm trying
Hmm.
to get back into it. And you know how that is. It's just life happens and you get busy. And I want to just circle back for a minute. Where you are right now, are you near any, there's other people nearby that you can communicate with and
Oh yeah.
share?
Yeah,
Oh,
literally, I'm at the top of the hill of this community. And then about 80 meters down the hill, where my Ethernet wire goes up like a cable up into the sky. The next house over, of whom I'm the guest on his property, basically, because this is his property,
oh,
um, is the co-founder of this community, and he has this beautiful house there. And then there's another yurt that he has on his property down this way, another, 80 meters in that direction, that someone in our community lives there. And there's about 21 plots of 2 acres each that are given to each member. He's a member, I'm not, of the community. And then each
oh,
person basically creates their own house. They have their family and their loved ones living in the house, and they set up as their primary domicile their residence as if their main place of living. So there's about, out of the 44 residents here, maybe 20, 25 are living here, and they're mostly young families, and some of
oh,
them, a few elders, not many like us. There's mostly, only 4 or 5 elders, mostly young families, and they're all in permaculture and growing things. And I'm basically become uh, a communication expert to the community using my skills. I'm now doing
hmm,
mediation and helping people communicate better with each other who are having conflicts. And I stage
oh,
creative speaking from the heart workshops like you see on my YouTube channel to help people be more in harmony with themselves, to release all past wounds and trauma. And so it's not a paid position, but it's a feeling that I have a sense of belonging with Maslow's
yeah,
sense of hierarchy of needs. We just had a meeting a few days ago on Sunday over the weekend, where, because there's been some factionalization here in the community, where
oh,
one of the members has basically said, I just came here to be with my family and young children. I came here just to be with the shareholders who own property, who have paid into this, and people who are residents or visitors or guests, they don't count in my book. And that totally estranged me, because I give so much to this place, giving
yeah,
classes and dancing workshops and loving giving in the spirit of community. And
yes,
so it disturbed me so much that basically I raised my hand. One time he was confronting me when I was driving down the hill over a little rickety bridge too fast. And he said, oh, you're going too fast. You're going to bust that bridge, man. I said, oh, well, thank you. I didn't realize what speed I should go on. I stand corrected, because we have a bylaw here that when you have a problem with someone, you communicate with them directly. And then he put it as a member item agenda meeting, for one of the monthly meetings. And he made a public humiliation of what I did. I was so upset about it. Finally, in the next meeting, I rose my hand. I said, I feel no longer safe to speak my wisdom. I'm an elder here, to share my gift, because I've been pushed down by someone that, instead of just having it be between he and I, he's setting it up as this public humiliation thing. I mean, this is not okay. So we have now been setting up all kinds of meetings around, this is an environment that is nonviolent communication.
hmm,
Violence is not tolerated. And we just had a meeting, I said, on something over the weekend, where there's been a description of, we need to bring all of our needs together, our individual needs on the one hand, our collective needs on the other. And I rose my hand. I said, I'll take charge of sending a message to everyone that I'll collect your needs along with the needs focus group together. And from that, together, we will find a solution that works for everyone. So I'm really stepping into leadership here, and it feels so good to do that and to be
Wow.
honored in that capacity. But that's what's happening in this area. So to answer your question, is there anyone near me? I went a little bit deeper. It's not just
That's okay.
physically near me, energetically. We're developing quite a conversation around a collaboration in community, and setting the stage for intentional goodwill to physicalize and materialize for the good of all. And I'm spearheading that along with others, because it's much more fun when we share this. That's what I'm doing here at this stage.
I love it. Now, here's something I want to, what I see something, which is, and I've seen it myself too. If he had not confronted you, you would not have had this opportunity to embrace everything that you're talking about, and how you want to be more involved, and a conscious leader without followers. No, leader. How you're a conscious leader, but you're not controlling. What is? How do you express that? You're leading in a certain way, but you're not getting in the way.
The true leader is in service to the people. The true
Yeah,
leader is in service, a servant to the people, servant to, and I put in a number of my communications to the people here, which helps because I don't have any personal, physical, intimate relationship or family. That's physical family here. I always, or not, or generally, am happy to complete and end my email saying in service to all, because I am.
I love that, servant to the people. That just practically exploded in my brain. That is so beautiful. A, and B, Gary, you don't know what's going to happen next, do you? None of us know. She might show up.
I have
And
a
if not, who
feeling.
gives a damn? You're
I
having a
have a
great time.
feeling that I'm going to be meeting someone on this cruise, and I
Oh,
just
that's
got this
right.
sense of I feel something happening. I was on the similar cruise on the same company about 4 years ago, just before COVID, and yet I was more in an interior space back then. I was still reeling from some wounds about having lost hundreds of thousands of dollars of my family inheritance and putting them into scams, and I was hurting. I was
Oh,
not feeling in I was not clinging or claiming and embodying the gifts and the lesson of something that happened that now I have to wake up to, or I have it to wake up to a greater sense of ownership and dominion and connection than I would have before had I not, quote unquote, let go of this form of giving what I thought was mine out and having it be disappeared in its form. And now I'm aware. No, I'm able to claim it back from a much higher place where I can
right.
claim, enjoy even the pain, and see the gifts and the lessons and the teachings. Because what are we here for anyway?
Exactly. I know. I've stumbled so many times, and when I've come back on my feet, I went, wow, do you realize that, this, if this hadn't happened, you may not be in this kind of capacity. And it's always intense. Most times it can be scary, sad, upsetting, whatever you want to call it. But then if you walk through that wormhole or fly through that wormhole, you come out with more wings and more
That's
colors
it.
and all that. And it's just how life is. And for some of us, like you and I think it's could be stronger in some ways because I believe we came here with great intention, and
Yeah,
so you get banged around a bit, but then you wake up and you're stronger and better. And I don't like that all the time, but that's being alive.
it's part of being alive, and it's so much of
Yeah,
what's happening at this stage of life for all of us in evolving humanity. We are amorphosizing, morphing all of
metamorphosizing.
that. We're doing all
Yeah,
of that in this
right.
cocooned glue, and in this cocooned glue where we lose the attachment to the forms that we thought were our identity or what this world needs to be like, and how I used to love to be able to travel freely in different ways. All of that outcomes from being willing to let go and die to what's no longer sustainable, out comes that winged butterfly from the cocoon of the chrysalis of the caterpillar. And we have far greater wingspan and a far greater capacity to radiate with colors, with beauty, with illumination, with inspiration, with instigation than we could when we were clinging to something familiar that was an old
Right,
story. Fresh
right.
stories, new glories, we dance and sing. Yes, we are remembering. Yes, we are awakening.
True. And I don't know if everyone's going to go through that wormhole. I really don't. I think some of us, we came here, 100% yes, even though it's intense and we got battered around, but we did that so we could move fast and we could understand and expand. I don't know if that's going to be the case with everyone, but at the same time, humanity is this beautiful expression from God. And my feeling is that the creator wants everyone to be free and happy, but it really is a personal choice. Are you going to get
It is.
stuck and think of this a certain way, or are you going to jump off or or prostrate or whatever you got to do? Pray, prostrate, jump off,
Yes,
you know?
it is a choice. And I find that at different timings for this choice, it's like a spring. A spring springs after it's coiled up. The exhalation happens after the full inhalation. So we need
Right.
contraction for
Yeah.
expansion. We need this. The plane takes
Yep.
off from the resistance to
Oh,
gravity and the earth. It doesn't take off because of a good advertising idea. I'm going to go to heights unknown. No, it resists the resistance, and by having that friction, then has the energy to lift off. Exactly what we're saying.
hmm.
Therefore, it's necessary for a short time. This is my feeling, to allow ourselves, like when I was 4 years ago on a similar ship as the one I'm about to go on, but now I'm in more of an exalted state. I was hurting inside. I didn't feel like sharing and meeting people when I wasn't doing my speeches and my presentation. I felt like I needed to be alone. I didn't have the feeling of ownership over the pain, and I hadn't stepped into the joy of the
Oh,
awakening that's now happened over this last 4 years, from realizing I have gifts and abilities that are far greater than whatever I thought I lost or left behind. And actually,
wow. Wow.
4 years, 6 years, 7 years ago now, I had this emergency spinal surgery when one
Oh,
day I was waking up on the 9th of September 2016 to do a presentation that was televised. It was a big presentation, but I couldn't move that day. I was in such extreme pain. And when I did the
wow.
presentation, someone at the end who was in the same entrepreneurial group with me turned to me and said, I think that's a bit more than a muscle injury. You should better check this, get an MRI with my chiropractor tomorrow. And I waited for the weekend because I thought it was just a muscle injury. And then when I had the MRI and a CRP test, which is creative reactive protein, to determine in case there's any infection, I had cut my right shin from my push bike, and that little cut, staph, found its way all the way up to where I had injured my spine and my L5, lumbar area of my spine. And the people looked at me from the MRI and having done this test, and they said to me, "You're going to go into sepsemia in about 3 or 4 hours, and if you don't have us cut your back open and do an emergency laminectomy and spinal surgery, we're going to lose you." And when I
What?
was in the hospital, I had this thought, I'm never going to be the same. I've been this acrobatic, wildly expressive champion athlete all my years. I'm going
Oh,
to come out of this as a gimp, and I'll never be the same. And yet something happened. I was listening to all of these audios when I was laying flat on my back with the stitches. I couldn't even move, flat on my back for about 10 days, saying to myself, no, I choose, given this conversation, I choose to upgrade. No matter what happens in this life, when my body breaks down, when my finances break down, when a relationship breaks down, or anything else that
Gary, I can't find you.
not hurt or destroyed. And that practice ever since has been a moment to moment practice, and it served me so well. So now I see it's absolutely a choice, and yet timing is necessary. I needed to go deep dark into the inner depths, and now I'm able to still access those depths from a higher realm of ownership and going, this is who I am. No, that's who I was moving through. But now, since I'm upgrading, I see things from a whole different perspective. I can include the sorrow with my joy. I can include the shame with my self-acceptance. I can include the polarities in a way I never could before. And this is a choice, and yet timing is what I'm getting to here is necessary. We need to let ourselves fall apart, break through before break down before breakthrough. It's required to let what is not working fall apart for something to come together, to morph into a form that, like Einstein said, a problem can only be dealt with not on the level that the problem was created, but at a higher level that contains the problem as part of the solution.
Wow. Wow, that's beautiful. I remember reading that somewhere on Facebook where you were having that you were having what exactly you had this it was a what was going up into your spine? Was it a toxin?
Staph bacteria found its way into the wet wound that hadn't scabbed up. So they found the way up through my bloodstream into the sacral area of my, where I already have a weak area. And they would have, if I call them having a consciousness, a thought or a belief. Ooh, here's a cool area, a little reservoir. It's kind of a weak area. Let's make home here. And they took off and they made this huge infection. Actually, I had a part of my spine removed. My third lumbar on the left side was actually, that chimney block was removed. And ever since, I've upgraded. I'm choosing to nurture, inspire, and empower myself with every thought, every word, every action. If I forget, I just go back to remembering that. I fall down, I pick myself up, and I become this force of activation for all, because it's a practice that now is part of my beingness, from allowing myself to fall apart and then come together in a new way. It's a choice.
That's amazing. So you almost they said you had 3 to 4 hours left to live.
Not only that,
quite...
but after the operation, 2-3 days later, the surgeon came in. Every day they made their round, and he said to me, "I got to tell you something. You waited too long to come in and report your back, your spine as having this condition, because your staph infection was so extreme. We thought we were going to lose you on the table, and maybe at best you'd come out as a quadriplegic." I said, "Thank God you didn't tell me anything." Thank God, because I may have had that consciousness because I was scared about that I would never be the same. But I did pick up on it. Yet, since they didn't tell me or program that into my thinking or consciousness or psyche, I thought, oh my goodness, it's my second chance at life. I'm ready now to truly serve the creator and creation, way more than my personality and my need to be feeling wholeness or completion through relationship. Now I really accept, I totally accept the inner life, the inside jobness of what we're here to be and become. And that's been now carrying me through. Now I feel I have its tremendous dedication everywhere to being this force of awakening and remembrance for all souls, for all souls. Yes, we are awakening. Yes, we are remembering. But I choose to be this force of awakening and remembrance.
Wow.
Each and every moment. And it's,
That is quite something. You did a deep dive, dude. That sounds really weird. You did a deep dive.
I like it. Deep dive dude has an added flavor to it.
Your soul was going, I got to get his attention somehow. And it grabbed you, okay?
It did.
That's quite a thing.
Now, I'm going to need to leave in a few minutes, so I'm going to turn off the recording and ask us while we're here to find a time to connect anew, because it's just so wonderful connecting with you again and again. It keeps getting deeper, a deeper, more
Yeah, it's
delicious
really
dive
lovely.
each time. I'm turning off the recording now.